Council and the authority, which is formerly the board, had a 3 days meeting in Naivasha that ended yesterday. And the purpose for that meeting was to ensure that they familiarize themselves with the PBO Act and see what needs to happen. So today, as PBOs, we're also here because if you look at the PBO, it talks about joint collaboration and frameworks of engagement between government and the PBOs. So we are not against the meeting of government in Naivasha. We believe that was their meeting. Today we have had our meeting, which is going to continue until Sunday. And now from this point, we believe that now the government having met and as the PBOs have met, now it will be a point of us coming together. As PBOs, we are not fighting the government. And that's why we have already sent an olive branch to the government, including writing a letter to the CS Internal Security, asking him to establish a joint collaboration or joint task force between the PBOs and the government, because the Act is very clear that implementing itself should be a joint collaboration. Of course, as CSRG, we have already also formed different teams among ourselves to be able to look at that particular bill or act and see which sections do we think need to be amended in future or which sections need to be aligned with the new constitution. We are also engaging with parliamentarians with a view of perhaps even pushing for an amendment bill to the sections that we think are not in line with the constitution. And we have already gotten a member of parliament who we have engaged with and is really ready and waiting for the act, for us to develop those areas so that the act can be amended, can be taken to the parliament. We have engaged with the Western member of parliament, Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi, who is already willing and ready to pick this bill and take it to the National Assembly. So we were here to bring our experts so that they can be able to diagnose the act and be able to advise us on the next way forward. So as I finish, maybe to welcome them to speak, because today was their day, as CSRG and as PBOs, we are saying that we are committed to working with the government to ensure that the PBO Act 2013 is fulfilled and operationalized in letter and in spirit. And we're also here to engage with the government to be able to say which sections do we think need to be amended kidogo so that it can be aligned inside with the Constitution. So we want to allay the fears that we want to fight the government. We want to tell the government that we are here to provide you with the support needed. And the President said that the government is willing to work with the sector for progress and development. And that's why we are here today for the next 3 days, so that we can come up with modalities of engaging with the government. So from next week, we hope the CS shall have seen the letter, and we have had reports that they have received the letter. We hope that in the next week we are going to have meetings with them so that whatever came out from this meeting and whatever came out from Naivasha, then we can bring them together to have a clear way forward for the... Definitely, because from this morning from our experts and the technical guys, we have learned that public education or civic education is very much important, because even us guys who have been in the forefront of pushing it, there are some gray areas, and that's why we are calling the experts. Now, what about the PBOs or the Mwananchi in the grassroots? And we are saying that the civic education should be facilitated and funded by government, but spearheaded by the PBOs, who are the ones who know the onset of this act and what we envisage in the first place. And in the same breath, of course, there are issues like, for example, and we have said this even in the past, in our past media addresses to you, that even as much as we are meeting the CS for internal security, we are still insisting that our place is not in the Interior Ministry. We are not a security threat. We are normal citizens. And in that engagement, we also still say that we need the operationalization of this act to be taken from the current Interior Ministry to either the Department of Devolution in the Office of the Deputy President, of course, in collaboration with the Council of Governors, or the State Law Office or the Attorney General's Office. So we are ready and we are willing. As you have seen, we have a lot of knowledge within the sector of people who can spearhead this civic education. We also have people within the sector who are qualified to be in the authority, who are qualified to be in those positions that the government is talking about. Of course, we have, as you have seen, we sent a letter to the government. Yesterday it was received, and we have even received confirmation that the letter has reached the CS. And of course, we know the President has said that the government is responsive, and we hope that in the next subsequent collaborations or negotiations or talks, then we need to be involved as the PBO so that we can also bring our input. The product of this 3-day meeting, we know the government had their meeting, and our meeting. Now we have to come together and marry them and come up with a joint program for implementation.
I'm the Executive Director, International Center for Policy and Conflict, the members of the Civil Society Reference Group, to understand